Hello and welcome guys, and welcome to this short vlog. And yes, in this vlog I'm going to enumerate all the amendments which have come by in the cost and management audit paper number 19 for CMA final students group 4. And the amendments have been carried out by the institute in its study material, and very recently 3 supplementaries have also been issued for this particular subject. In this vlog, I'm going to deal with all the 3 supplementaries and the study material changes which have come by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. And trust me, there are not much of differences. There are a bit of reclassifications from one chapter to another chapter. Some portions of your syllabus have been given a different chapter name and a different chapter study material constituent. And certain things have been newly added in your syllabus, which are very minor. So nothing to be panicky about, nothing to worry about. Some minor changes in your pattern and in your syllabus have been introduced for cost and management audit. All right. So as I've already told you, the source of the amendments is the revised study material, which has been dated as April 21. And in this revised study material, there have been certain changes. And then there are supplementaries which are issued with respect to cost accounting standards, with respect to 5 case studies on applicability of cost audit and cost audit program. So these are the 3 supplementaries which have been issued. Now let me tell you, the revised study material of April 21 contains certain additional study materials which are from 2 sources. Number 1, they are the existing portions or existing topics of some other chapter which have been culled out and they have been made as a separate study material, or they are new entrants. Both of the constituents contents will be discussed by me in the later part of this video. Secondly, there is a supplementary. There are 3 supplementaries which have been issued. So the revised cost accounting standards have been issued. Revised cost accounting standards which were revised say in 2015 or the later years. And guys, these were already in place earlier as well, and we were studying the revised cost accounting standards only. So no change in this particular supplementary. There's nothing additional which this supplementary has to offer you. The cost accounting standards which are applicable in your prior attempts, they are updated only. They are the revised version of all the cost accounting standards only. But yes, one thing which I was expecting through this revised cost accounting standards was with respect to CAS 2. I was expecting that the questions which are given in the study material with respect to CAS 2 capacity determination, which are solved as per the old version of cost accounting standards, which means practical capacity was being computed in that particular questions. I thought that institute will remove it, because now as per the revised cost accounting standard 2, there is no practical capacity. There's only installed capacity, normal capacity and actual capacity. So I thought that institute might take a step and delete all those questions which have been solved as per the old CAS. But no, the questions as per the old CAS have also been integrated in the new study material. So the crux of the matter is that as far as CAS 2 is concerned, you have to study the old CAS 2 as well as the new CAS 2, and you have to study the computation of practical capacity also along with normal, actual and installed capacity. So yes, this is definitely there, that old CAS 2 and new CAS 2 questions with respect to both the CASs are present in your study material. Therefore, old CAS 2 is also required to be studied, and new CAS 2 is also required to be studied. In all my video lectures, in my textbook as well, the link is given in the description box below. I have dealt with the old CAS 2 as well as the new CAS 2 in an equal fashion, because both of them are important. So yes, cost accounting standards revised have been notified and have been declared. Then the second aspect is that 5 case studies on applicability of cost audit have been introduced by the institute. And yes, this is an important area, guys. So all those 5 case studies which are there on applicability of cost audit, those have to be done by you, and they are pretty simple. They are very, very easy to understand, and I have put them in a folder, which the link of which can be accessed through the description box link which is there. So I have put them all in a particular folder. You can access over there. 5 case studies, very, very simple, whether cost audit is applicable or not based on the turnover criteria. So pretty simple case studies which have been introduced as per the supplementary. Next is cost audit program. Yes, this is a detailed supplementary which has been issued by the institute, approximately 30 to 35 pages, and this has also been introduced in the revised study module which has been introduced in April 21. These have been added over there as well. But yes, a lengthy one, cost audit program, a lengthy one, but nothing to be worried of, nothing to be panicky about, because these cost audit programs are pretty much the usual step which a cost auditor will take while auditing a particular thing. For example, if you want to audit, say, purchases, then what are the typical steps that you will do while auditing purchase? You will see the invoice, you will see the payment which is made to the vendor, you will see whether the equation, that is the opening stock plus purchases minus consumption, is equal to the closing stock, that equation is tallied or not. Then you will see whether the raw material or the input output ratio, the raw material introduction and output which is there, that ratio is appropriately maintained by a particular company or not, or there is excessive wastage. You will check that. So these are a set of steps which a cost auditor should do to perform cost audit of a particular function. So there are several functions which are given in your book. So these are the functions which are given in your book, and for these functions cost audit program has been devised. So guys, these 30 pages are to be read 3 times. If you read these pages 3 times, if you do a 3 read of these cost audit programs before your examination, you will pretty easily be able to remember these cost audit programs. So no need to additionally put in an effort to say that, okay sir, I'm going to learn and mugify every bit of it. No need of doing that, because these are based on your common sense, on your general understanding of how a particular area can be audited. For example, how can employee cost be audited? Obviously you will be seeing the number of employees who are employed by the company. You will see the attrition rate, the turnover rate. You will see what are the salary expenses which are being incurred per employee, and then you will be assimilating your comments over there. So these are definitely a lengthy set of introduction which has been done in your syllabus, but yes, not a very difficult one. It is based on your general knowledge. Now, one important thing about this cost audit program is that against each cost audit program there are a set of tables which are given to you. Now these set of tables are necessarily formats for reconciling any cost. Formats for reconciling purchases with closing stock with opening stock. These are standard formats which are given to you for your audit purposes. That will help you in your auditing spree. Now, the best part about online examination is that you will not be required to form these tables in your examination. So you need not learn these tables. You just can see these tables. You can just see that, okay, on a broad perspective, what table is to be used for a particular expenditure, what table is to be used for filling in information about a particular thing. You can use your tables for that, but from an exam standpoint, I do not think that these tables or the annexures which are given in cost audit program are very, very relevant, are very required from an exam standpoint, because in the exam you will not be given a area where a table is required to be made. Okay, so yes, you can just read those tables, but no need to learn these tables. You just need to learn the steps which are required for auditing these functions, like production, raw material, key raw material, electricity generated, demineralized, water cost, etc, etc, etc. You just need to learn all these cost audit programs and do all these cost audit programs by yourself, and yes, they are a easy bet. They are not difficult at all. So these are the 3 supplementaries which have been issued by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Yes, they will be relevant for the October exam as well as the onward exam. They will be relevant for both. Okay. Now coming on to the study material, what are the chapters which have been reclassified in your study material? Okay, there are 2 set of changes in the study material. 1, chapters have been reclassified as a different study material. 2, additional things have been inserted. Okay. So first I'll deal with the chapters which are reclassified. So chapters in the new study material. So audit of service organization is a new study material which has been introduced. Evaluation of corporate image, this is a new study material which has been introduced, but this is actually culled out or demerged from the chapters internal audit, internal controls and management audit. So they are not new. They are actually the existing chapters which are there. They are just siphoned off from these existing chapter. New study material has been prepared for these particular things. So they are not new. Okay. Now, new topics inserted. What are the new things which are inserted in your syllabus of cost audit? Number one, types of audit report. Now, this is very, very important, guys. Types of audit report was there in your 2008 syllabus as well as in your 2012 syllabus, but in 2016 syllabus, this topic was eradicated. But now this topic has been reintroduced. What are the types of cost audit report? Now, in your study material, there are only two types of cost audit report which has been enumerated: qualified audit report and adverse audit report. So this has been introduced in your study material. But I definitely think that you should do the other two type of audit report as well. You should be aware about the other two type of cost audit report as well. So two reports which have been introduced in your syllabus. One is qualified audit report and adverse report. Now, I'll tell you the difference between both of them in a very, very brief manner. Okay. What is the ultimate objective of an audit report? Ultimate objective of audit report is that it has to express a true and fair view, to express that the cost auditor has checked all the elements of cost accounts and he is satisfied that cost accounts present a true and fair view. This is the ultimate objective of any cost audit report. Now, there are two situations which may arise. Number one, there are certain small mistakes in the cost statements, but overall the cost statements are fine. Okay. In that case, a qualified audit report is actually issued, whereby the auditor states that although my opinion of true and fair view is there, it is very much there, the cost accounts are largely okay, I express a true and fair view, but subject to certain small points which have been ignored by the management, which have not been dealt with properly by the management. Certain small points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apart from these 5 points, rest cost statements are perfectly fine. So I express a true and fair view. This is qualified audit report. Now, what is adverse audit report? Adverse audit report means the errors which are there in the cost statements, they are so big, they are so huge, they are so pervasive. Pervasive means they are impacting the truth and fairness of the cost accounts as a whole. Under such a situation, the auditor says that the cost accountants do not show a true and fair view. They do not represent true and fair statement of cost. So, under both qualified and adverse report, there are certain mistakes. But under qualified report, there are few mistakes. True and fair view is there. But under adverse report, there are big mistakes. There are pervasive mistakes. There are pervasive errors, because of which true and fair view is impacted. So the cost auditor will say the errors are so big that I think that true and fair view cannot be given of the these cost statements. So this is the difference between qualified audit report and adverse audit report. It will form an essential part of your syllabus henceforth. So yes, you need to study the definition of both of them. Then next two which are not there in your syllabus, but I feel that you should be aware about them: disclaimer of opinion and clean report. Clean report means there are no errors, absolutely no error, true and fair view is there, and there are not even small errors or any small reservations of the cost auditor. That is represented by clean report. Now, what is disclaimer of opinion? Disclaimer of opinion means the auditor is unable to verify, is unable to check the entire cost statements, and therefore he is refraining from giving any view. He is not giving any view because he has not been made privy to the cost statements, or he has not been made privy to the information which is required to audit the cost statements. In that case, the auditor gives a disclaimer of opinion that I am not able to express any opinion on the cost statements because I have not been provided by the relevant data, or I have not been provided by the relevant support by the management. Therefore, I am unable to comment on the truth and fairness of the cost statement. That is disclaimer of opinion. So yes, these four type of cost audit report are important to you and are applicable in your syllabus as well. Now, cost audit program, I've already discussed about these cost audit programs. 16 cost audit programs have been introduced in your syllabus, and all of them relate to steps which are required to do cost audit. Those steps are to be read by you thrice, and logically you will be able to retain all of them, because more or less there will be some synchronization in all the steps which are there in all these cost audit programs. So yes, these were the additional or additional points or additional topics which have been introduced in your cost audit management audit syllabus. Again, I repeat my initial point: nothing major, guys. Do not worry. Nothing major. Certain small changes over here and there, and certain small additions which are there. That's it. Nothing major. So nothing to worry about. Okay. Now there's one very, very important thing which has happened yesterday itself. So there's a notification which has been introduced by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, whereby Institute of Cost Accountants of India have permitted chartered accountants, company secretaries, engineers, architects, lawyers to form a multidisciplinary partnership firm. So now onwards, cost accountant in practice can be a partner in a can be partner with a CA, with a CS, with a advocate, with a actuary. So this is a big development which has happened in the CMA fraternity very, very recently, which is within last 2-3 days, and I'm going to make a detailed video on this for the benefit of CMA members and CMA passed out, my old CMA passed out students. So how is it relevant to us? You know, our exam is around the corner, our exam is in October. So how is relevant to us? If it is relevant to us, then only, sir, let's talk about it, otherwise we won't talk about it. Okay, guys, it is relevant for the CMAs who are going to appear in October 21 examination as well, because so this is the chapter which is there in your syllabus in cost and management audit, which is cost auditor professional ethics and responsibility. This chapter holds at least 6 to 7 marks in your examination, so it's an important chapter. So guys, this chapter has got a regulation which is first schedule part 1. The regulation is that a CMA is restricted to enter into a partnership with any person other than cost accountant in practice. So this was the regulation which was there earlier, professional ethics, that a CMA cannot enter into a partnership with any other person rather than a cost accountant in practice. This was a professional ethic which was to be followed by all CMAs. But after the advent of this regulation that now cost accountant in practice can enter into multidisciplinary partnership with CA, CS or other professionals, now this stands changed. This stands amended. Now onwards, CMA can enter into a partnership firm or a partnership with any other person like CA, like CS, like advocate, actuary, engineer, and all the regulations, all the people who have been mentioned in that circular, which I'll be discussing in a separate video, they are there. So a small amendment which has not been introduced by the institute in your syllabus as of now, in your study material also it is not amended, but yes, you should amend it at your end. You should, if the examination requires you to comment about multidisciplinary partnership firm, then you should say that yes, multidisciplinary partnership firm is allowed for a practicing cost accountant henceforth. So yes, this was a amendment which was there in the in your syllabus, which is not written, but yes, it is there. So guys, these are the amendments which are there in cost and management audit. I have accumulated all these amendments and have put it in a folder. The link to the folder is given in the description box below. Just access that Google Drive folder and you can actually fetch the relevant details from that Google Drive folder very easily. Okay, it is also available on the website, institute website also. You can download from there as well. So this is there. Now in this video, I am also going to share my observations on the new paper pattern with respect to cost and management audit. And I want to highlight certain important things which I can gather through the new paper pattern which has been introduced. Okay. So section A, B, C, D. There are 4 sections which are there in your new paper pattern, and these 4 sections would contain questions from the entire syllabus. Now section A and B both are MCQ based, objective based section. So section A and B both will be 20 marks of section, 20 questions of 1 mark each, 40 marks to be dedicated to section A and B. You will be given 50 minutes to complete section A and B, and section A and B is actually an easy section. It will be based on your primary knowledge about cost audit, management audit, on all those chapters. Primarily, I could see questions from the rules chapter and cost accounting standards chapter in these 2 MCQs. So primarily, you have to really focus on the rules chapter and cost accounting standard chapter while while answering questions to MCQ. So this is section A and section B. Section C is 40 marks section, which will contain descriptive type questions as well as some practical based, case study based questions. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the questions which are there in section C. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And out of these 6 questions, you need to do only 4 questions, which is for 40 marks. So out of these 6 questions, you have to attempt 4 questions, 10 marks each, 40 marks. Now, where were these questions from? These questions were from 3 theoretical chapters, which are basics of management audit in different functions, internal control, internal audit, operational audit. So these 3 chapters are very, very important with respect to section C, because section C would definitely contain questions from these 3 chapters. Okay. Then there were 1 practical question from applicability of internal audit. Internal audit is again forming part of this particular chapter itself. So it is nothing new. It is forming part of this particular chapter. But what I wanted to highlight was that there was a practical question. Practical question as in you were given turnover criteria, turnover limits of a particular company, and according to those turnover limits, you had to compute the internal audit applicability of internal audit applicability on that particular company. So this was an important part which I thought I should highlight it to you. And secondly, there was 1 practical question from rule plus CAS. Okay, in rules, computation of capital employed was asked, and its percentage was asked with respect to PBT. And in cost accounting standards also, certain mix of practical and theory questions was asked from this particular section. And undoubtedly, guys, out of 6 questions, you have to attempt only 4 questions. So if you want to avoid theory, then you can easily avoid the questions which have been asked from these 3 theoretical chapters. If you really want to avoid typing and if you want to avoid theory part a little bit, then this can be avoided. But I feel that, guys, these are low-hanging fruits. These are low-hanging grapes, because these chapters are so small. They are not very big. So each chapter would be of say 20 pages or 15 pages, and mandatory question is being asked from these 3 chapters. So these chapters are low hanging fruit. I think you should not leave questions from this particular 3 chapters, because they'll be very, very easy. They'll be very, very straightforward. Consumer services audit. What is consumer services audit and its constituents? Simple answer, simple question. Management audit and its essential features. Simple answer, simple question. So I think these 3 chapters are low hanging fruits which you can pluck very, very easily. So I don't think you should leave doing these 3 chapters. But yes, from an overall standpoint, I feel that if you prepare CAS, rules and the 3 theoretical chapters well, then probably you'll be able to attempt almost 60% of this particular paper, 60 to 70%. Cost accounting standard, rules and the 3 theoretical chapters which I've highlighted over here. So this is like a bonanza, you know. Effort is less, marks are more. And I've always propounded this fact, guys, that cost and management audit and BVM SPM, which is there in your group 4, both of these subjects are actually low lying fruits, whereby efforts are less, marks are more. So if you do some smart study, obviously it contains risk, but it's a calculated risk. If you do some smart study, you'll be able to score really well in cost audit and BVM SPM. Then the last portion, which is section D, which is 20 marks again, and this question would contain 2 questions. CAS, practical and theory, again cost accounting standard, and there'll be a mandatory question of ratios. Okay, ratios is very, very important, because there'll definitely be a question from ratios like current ratio, debt to equity ratio. All those ratios which has been discussed in management reporting section, those ratios will mandatorily form part of your examination. To do those ratios very, very well, it has been recurring in all the examination in past and the sample papers and the model test paper. These ratios have been recurring like anything. So these are an important aspect of your syllabus. So to say, on the contrary, chapters like XBRL, guys, low lying chapters, low intensity chapters. Chapters like cost audit documentation, low lying chapters, relatively less important chapter. Chapter like first chapter, basic concepts, low lying chapter, relatively low important chapter. So you can actually do an ABC analysis of all the chapters and focus on the key chapters being cost accounting standards, rules and 3 theoretical chapters, along with do one more chapter, professional ethics. Professional ethics question is mandatorily gonna come, so do that chapter, and I feel that scoring 70 plus in cost and management audit is definitely a cakewalk for you. On that positive note and with this information relevant for you, guys, all the best for your examination of October 21, and may you succeed, come out with flying colors and give me a message. So I scored 80 plus in cost and management audit. Eagerly waiting to hear those words from you. So yes, prepare well, study hard, all the very best, and happy studying.